provide our audience with relevant information on aviation filled through panel discussions, interviews with aviation professionals. We offer high school students the Junior Aviator course to broaden their understanding of aviation as well as increase their chances of getting into top aviation schools. We also offer Aviation Refresher and Advanced course on aviation topics. All our courses are carefully designed by aviation experts with international aviation qualifications in a wide range of aviation disciplines. The courses are designed to equip aviators with modern and relevant skills applicable in today's aviation world. Inspire, equip, empower, Flight Wings Aviation.
Greetings, everyone. Good evening, good morning, good afternoon, depending on whatever time zone you're joining us on. Welcome to the Big Sky, a show proudly brought to you by Flight Wings Aviation, and we go by the mantra inspire, empower, and equip. So today, as usual, season 3, episode 7, I am back again, Aviation Thursdays, and today I have a visitor called Sia. I will not butcher your name, so I'll allow you to say your name in full, in all its totality. And I'm proud to say it's always a pleasure being here, getting to know the aviation community each and every single time I'm here. And if you new to this page, please kindly like, subscribe, share with your friends, and always tell them that it's always a Aviation Thursday right up here. So it's always a pleasure to be watched every single Thursday. And as well, if you're watching us, feel free to use the comment section and basically engage with us and tell us where you're watching us from. We generally like engagement. So without further ado, I am going to throw it to my visitor guest today. And my brother Sia, how are you doing?
I am well, thanks, man. How are you?
I am awesome. So tell us. Let's break a little bit of ice first, but let's be concise. Let's just tell us who you are briefly before we dive into the matter of today's animated discussion.
Well, it wouldn't be so easy to give you an answer of that kind because there are many ways to describe who I am. But in short, I would say I am one whom comes from a place where you would never associate someone of my kind to be, you know. I am one who is responsible, you know. I am one who was family orientated, you know, and I am one who really works hard to get where he wants to be, you know, no matter what trials and tribulations. But the idea is to reach the intended destination at all times.
Awesome. So it sounds very serious and feels like there's so much to unravel today. So let's go back to your educational background. Like, what did you study and how did you get to be where you are right now? Tell us the journey. Where is he coming from and where has he arrived? give us that narrative. Share with us.
Well, Ben, it would take the entire episode to tell you where I come from. In fact, it would
Exactly, we
take
have an episode for that.
it would take
We can have a part two. See, it's no pressure. We can have a part two. I mean, if your story is so compelling, man, I don't mind doing a part two of this. I mean,
okay,
shoot away,
provided
shoot
that
away.
provided that we won't have any load shedding on our sides, and we'll have everything on our side, then I'm available for a part two. To answer your
Part two.
question,
Yeah,
yes.
yeah.
To answer your question, as I said, that I come from a background where one wouldn't look, where one wouldn't dream as far as I did. In South Africa, we call those places informal settlement. There's different kinds of names that are given after that, but it. I grew up on an informal settlement, and a a son who became responsible at a very young age. And I went in primary school, in a farm school, um, which is not a model C. Which is not a model C school, a school which only surrounding environments would attend to, free education, no school fees being paid, So there's been that. I went to do my secondary school in Tanzania, which is a township, now different exposure to how other things are in the world. Immediately after I did matric that side, 2014 I failed matric, and I went again 2015, and superbly I passed. Got a bachelor's degree and a distinction in home language. And also, I couldn't apply for any higher institution. I had to go work at a supermarket, and that is how the journey has been. It took working at the supermarket to meet the fellow pilot that was there, who further inspired me to embark on my journey and reach my goal. Since then, I've been on it since I think I'm counting 4 years now, if I'm not mistaken, 5 years. Been in the industry for 5 years, so my eyes have seen things. I've seen people quit, and it's just not a good. It's not a good thing. But like I said, no matter how long it takes me, I am one who's dedicated to reach the destination.
Wow. I'm tempted to ask. I mean, I'm tempted to ask the part where you mentioned how you worked at the supermarket and then you met a pilot, isn't it? If I'm getting you right. I'm really interested to getting to know some of that story and what exactly inspired you that came from that pilot and that made you then leave what you were doing at that particular point and still um like yearn to and pursue the aviation dream that you always have, or did you always have it, or there was a spark from this
You know,
circumstance that met you along the way?
when I was in the farm school was located about 5 minutes away from the airport, and the informal settlements we used to stay at were, I'd say, about 5 minutes away as well. Um, so I've always seen these planes every day, and seeing those planes, I've always been asking myself, what keeps them in the air? Growing up, I always used to like playing with kites and paper planes. And so it's those things that always ignited that spark within me. The first thing I drew as a kid was a helicopter, and it was a police helicopter, and that also ignited the curiosity within me that, hey, this thing can fly, it belongs in the air, it's flown by the police. And but what is that person flying that thing called? Further discovered that a person flying an aeroplane is a pilot. So I was like, okay, the next thing someone asks me, what do I want to be? I'm going to be a pilot. And since then I always had the dream of, hey, one day I want to be a pilot. In short, I would say this started as early as 2005. If not when I was doing grade 5, I am not sure between when I was doing 5, sorry, not 2005, when I was doing grade 5.
Ah, nice. Before we continue in the depth of today's interview, we're going to take a short break and we'll be right back. Do not go anywhere to our viewers. We'll be back just shortly.
Flight Wings Aviation is an organization whose sole purpose is to inspire and equip the next generation of aviators. We achieve this by offering educational aviation seminars and tours to high school students. Our media channel, we provide our audience with relevant information on aviation filled through panel discussions, interviews with aviation professionals. We offer high school students the Junior Aviator course to broaden their understanding of aviation as well as increase their chances of getting into top aviation schools. We also offer Aviation Refresher and Advanced course on aviation topics. All our courses are carefully designed by aviation experts with international aviation qualifications in a wide range of aviation disciplines. The courses are designed to equip aviators with modern and relevant skills applicable in today's aviation world. Inspire, equip, empower, Flight Wings Aviation.
And we are back again. The Big Sky, getting to explore the unlimited possibilities of aviation. Thank you so much. If you joined us just now, I'm having CA in the studio, and we were talking about something that's interesting about him. And yes, my brother, let's jump back in. I'm really
Mhm.
interested in how you're talking about your first time dri drone a helicopter and all of that. I'm really inspired about that story where, I mean, that time you're going to school and then you meet the pilot. Like that's where we left it off. Like explain a bit more and tell us. I mean, give us the details. Give us the
Right.
details.
To give you further details on that, immediately after matric, I went to look for a job at a local supermarket. I worked at the supermarket for a period of about a year, 6 months. Within that period, I actually came across a guy walking down an aisle wearing a pilot outfit, and I knew that, hey, I need to talk to this guy. I was confident enough in my English and did my best to speak to that guy. And he sounded American, and I was like, "Hey, man, your accent, you sound like you're from the U.S." And he was like, "No, I'm a Namibian." And I was like, "Okay, this guy's a Namibian in South Africa doing his working or studying here, whatever. In fact, he needs to tell me how he made it through." And one thing I liked about him was the fact that he was African as well, which gives me hope that yes, this thing is possible. I don't know what is his background, but to see someone looking like me doing what I want to do, it also played a role. Since then, we've been friends. He's mentored me all the way to be where I am today. And he has grown professionally, and he's currently working back home. And I'm still pushing my career back home as well. And we've been on it since day one. And the only thing that ignited the spark was when he gave me a call the other day. I was supposed to report on duty, and he called me and said, "Hey, man, like I said to you, that there's nothing I can do. I cannot finance your studies, but the only thing I can do for you is to at least give you a glimpse of how this flying environment is, and you will decide from there that this is something you want or not." I still remember the day vividly. It was the 1st of December 2016, when I first took flight. And I remember when that aircraft was airborne, looking at the world from a different view, from a different perspective. And immediately after takeoff, as I started looking down on the ground, I was like, this is where I belong. If it takes me 10 years, I will get there. I will get here. But I need to work hard to get all what is required for me to be there. Immediately after that, I decided, hey, it is high time that I act on my dream now, before that light that was ignited fades away. And since then, I kept on it. And I went in search, to see if I can get anyone willing to sponsor my funds, because my matric results were speaking on my behalf. They were not as good as anyone else would achieve, but they were speaking on my behalf. Where I come from and the dream I had, it was quite possible that there was no way I would finance my studies.
Oh, so in that regard as well. So where is the source of inspiration in terms of all of this? What kept you going? And yeah, like how did you soldier on until you reach where you are?
Man, I like that question. And it is the same thing that keeps me going even today. Um, Initially, I was one who used to think that I can do all of this by talking to people that I look up to. Until I discovered that listening to good music, inspirational music, someone who comes from the dust, who's a musician, uh, is someone that I can relate to a lot. So keeping my ears busy, by listening to good music, inspirational music, and keeping people that want the best for me, not only for themselves in my circle. And that has been the thing, man, since day one, that all I want, or all is right for me, is to keep the right people in my circle, and also listen to good music. And looking back where I come from and where I'm at now is also one other thing that is inspiring me, that hey, I may be the only one coming from the same environment as I do, but there's at least 100 kids that are looking up to me and say, we want to be like Sia one day. We want to achieve similar things that he has. One thing they do not know is that the journey is very long, and what is important is one step at a time. And some things may not make sense to them, but I do trust the process, and I believe that I will get wherever I want to. It is just a matter of patience, So my source of inspiration then is all of those things included, and the support that I get from the family, and also the man above, my Lord and Savior Jesus Christ.
Huh. Incredible. So if you're gonna sum it up, what would you say attracted you to aviation? Moments earlier on, you mentioned about this Namibian pilot, but then when you look at it, what can you clearly say that this is what attracted me to aviation? What was it about him that attracted you to aviation? Then, like, okay, this is what I'm gonna do. Yeah, let's take
It
that.
was Mhm. It was actually his professionalism, he was too professional, to a point that I was even scared to talk to him, to a point that I thought he was, sorry, from the US, So looking at him, I saw myself. I said, "This is what I want to achieve. This is what I want to do," you know. And for a moment, um, I wanted to stop, but I told myself that if I stop now, then I'm not getting where I want to be. I'm not getting all the information I want. Spoke to him, gave me his business card, we spoke, and eventually met another guy who happened to be a South African, who happened to come from the Eastern Cape, the same province as me. When I contacted him, he made time, he made himself available, And we met, we had a drink. He told me that you will definitely achieve it. It's possible, and you will get all what you want. I can be there to guide you. And ever since then, he's been guiding me.
Ah, interesting. Great. And as well, moving on, we spoke about how you're coming from humble beginnings, basically, where you then had to work on the shop and all of these things. So, how did you financially then get to where you are? Like, um, hint, hint. I mean, when I was doing the research about you, there's a bursary and so forth. How did that come about?
So clearly, you guys did your job. So this is how this happened. When I spoke to the Namibian guy, I told him that, hey, man, how can I do this? He said, your government can pay for you. And I was like, not in South Africa, man. During that time, it was during the period of the Ngandla saga, and I was like, nah, man, this is not possible. And when I spoke to the South African guy, Sipho, he said, it's possible. The. Can pay. So I ended up getting. Are you still with me there?
Yeah, I'm here. I'm here. I
Are you
think your
still there?
phone's on mine. Yeah, I'm still here. I'm still here. The government, I think that was the last line.
I think I lost you for a moment.
Yeah. Yeah, you're explaining the government, something to do with that. Are you here? Are you still here?
I
Hello?
think our network is acting up on us.
Are you here?
Uh,
Can you hear
I
me?
don't have sound, my sound. there's no sound on my side. I can't hear you.
Really? Hello? Can you hear me? Is there anything? I can't hear. Yeah, I think I can hear you now. You can't hear me. I think you can log in and come back. All right, we're back. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, can you hear me now?
Awesome. I don't know why the internet is hating.
Say again.
No why the internet is hating, but yeah. Okay, can you hear me now?
Much better.
Awesome. So yeah, let's go over the bursary issue. I think that's where we were left. That's where we left off.
Say again.
The bursary, the bursary. We're talking about the bursary and the government, something in that line.
I think I lost you when I was still explaining how I came across the guys and how I actually ended up in search of a bursary, you know?
Yeah. Like let's get back to that part.
All right, no problem then. So, when I spoke to Sipho, which happened to be the guy that comes from the same province as me here in the Eastern Cape, he told me it is possible. I can do it. The government can finance my studies. And when I spoke to my other friend from Namibia, Manfred, he told me that if the government cannot fund you, you should consider taking a study loan because you are currently working. I was even convinced that a study loan is the way to go, because that's how hard I wanted it. I was willing to work and pay it at the same time, And I discovered that, hey, it would have not been possible. Ventured in search of looking for a bursary, went and submitted my application with different companies. And it only took 2 of those to reply back to me. And those were government organizations. And since then, the rest was history.
Huh. So you're from the Eastern Cape. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Okay.
I think when it comes to the matric pass rate, we're probably the second last or the third last. The province doesn't really do good simply because there's some things that still need to be done, basic things. But where I came from, I knew that I was only there to obtain my matric certificate and a good pass so that I can start my journey working towards as a pilot.
Huh. So what kind of advice would you give to someone from the Eastern Cape about having big dreams and not necessarily having a plan? How do they navigate that? What kind of advice can you give someone
To be
from a
honest with
similar
you,
situation with you?
to be honest with you, the first advice I would give them is to stay at school. Not only because I want you to become a pilot one day. If you stay at school, you stand better chances of being employable in the future. Once you are at school, remember that you will have friends that come from a family that is affording, and you will be coming in a family that is not affording. It shouldn't be written in your face that you're coming from a family that is not affording. When you're hungry, it shouldn't be seen in your face that you're hungry. Stay in school, pass your academics, and do not lose the strength even if it gets hard. There was a time where when I was in school, I only had meals from the school nutrition program. Most of the kids in the Eastern Cape are beneficiaries of such programs. And I strongly believe that most of those that are not privileged, they do get those programs. And the government is trying their best to support where they can. But think about it. If the government does everything for you, you will become lazy. There are some things that you need to do all by yourself. The rest of the government will do. And so, yes, that is why today you'll find bursaries from government organizations, because they are supporting those that are in need. They do not choose specific people because of who their parents are or because where they come from. It is specifically because they do not afford to finance their studies. The same thing applies with any other bursaries, your National Student Fund organizations. Them too, they select candidates that deserve this financial assistance. And so, for you to get financial assistance, you need to provide good marks. Stay in school and have a goal that you're working towards. And always remember, you have a story to tell. And only you can tell that story. Where you come from doesn't really determine where you will end up. So take your disadvantageous background and use it to your own advantage to get where you want to be. And once you make it in life, do not forget to go back where you come from. And do not forget to go back to the people you struggled with. Because in this life, you can shoot high and be a star. At the same time, you can fall down and be a fallen star.
Interesting. I'm progressing more on the aviation side in more depth. Let's talk about you obtaining a private license at the age of 21. How did that feel? And tell us the journey of you being in flight school and all of that.
At that time, uh, it was such a great achievement for me. I didn't know what was gonna come in the next 3, 4, 5 years down the line. I thought that was it, you know. And yes, it was exciting. It was exciting to know that I'm getting closer to where I want to be. It was exciting because I am about to achieve what I want to achieve. And my granny's prayer have been answered. And yes, everyone else in my circle was excited about it. Radio stations, TV stations, newspaper companies, they came to me and said, hey, tell us your story. And exactly I did. The only reason behind all of that was so as to share this information I have to everyone out there. All the kids that come from the same background as me should know that it is possible. And none of my parents are currently working for the government. None of them has matric even. It only took me to benefit from the government. And situations of that kind, you would really think that you are not the only one who is under such conditions or circumstances. There's many of these kids. I was fortunate to be close to an airport. There's those that are very far from the airport. But a radio can reach there, a newspaper can reach there, and a TV can reach there. When they can see that, hey, look at this guy coming from the dust, from the mud, look at where he is now. That was the idea behind all of it, you know. When when all of that happened, I was excited. I was very happy about it. I didn't know that later in the years it will develop, it will cause, or it will be a result of some opportunities being prevented to specific people, because of specific things, But like I said to you, should we have time, we can still talk about the rest of what is happening and how things are going, where and how would I advise a student pilot at the moment on what to do. Like I said, we can always have another episode to talk more of such things.
Sure thing, like always. Um, as we approach the end of the show, as we're about to wrap up, um, let's let's talk about briefly your ambitions, basically, and where you're currently at. You obtained your private license at 21. Where are you currently at, and where are you currently going as well? Can you just briefly touch on that as well?
Okay. I don't think I got your question clearly because you were breaking for a moment. If
Okay, I can ask it again. I meant that considering that you got your private license at 21, and probably now you're more than 21. Where are you currently? First of all, I can see the three straps. Where are you currently right now, and where are
oh,
we going?
exactly. I heard you. I thought I didn't hear you clearly. All right. If it wasn't for the pandemic, I would have gotten my commercial pilot at least I'd say 2 years back, or three years back. Yeah, probably 3 years back, you know. But because of the pandemic, it delayed so many dreams. It denied people so many opportunities. And so I ended up upgrading my license only last year, and qualified last year as a commercial pilot. And immediately after that, some circumstances ended occurred, but I pulled up my socks again, back back online, flying, and now I'm concluding my instructor rating course. And so I will be working as an instructor pilot at the same time, and I will now be teaching student pilots to become private pilots. And in the next probably 3-4 years, I strongly believe I'll still be in the game and still be flying. And what would I wish a student pilot to know is that there's a lot of things that you were never told when you were doing your research. And those things you are only told them, you will only get to know them when you are in the industry yourself. So those are some of the things that I want to share with student pilots, and those are some of the things that I want to share with people that have their private pilot license, and how to get where I am and how to get going when the going gets tough.
Hmm. Nice. To cap off today's episode, a slight caveat. What are basically your side hobbies, and as well take us through you winning the Eastern Cape Youth Award. And you're wearing a nice blazer, by the way. I mean, it's on your Instagram. I always make sure that I look for something on my guest's Instagram page, something that's just interesting. I've I'm like, Liz, what happened on that moment? You're wearing something fresh. I mean, if you're close to me, that jacket would have been gone by now because it's really, really fresh. Um, take us through, like, how did you end up winning the Eastern Cape Youth Award, and what is it all about, and what is it that you do apart from being Sia the pilot?
Man, you had me smiling all this time. So, how did I come about that? And I think it was on a newspaper, and someone told me that, hey, you deserve this. You are a young man from the Eastern Cape, and you're an influence in our community. So, how have you thought about it? If you were to be nominated, would you accept the nominee? And I was like, yes, I would love to get some recognition. And yes, they nominated me, and I received a correspondence of that. Hey, you've been nominated, accepted. That's when I started asking people, hey guys, if you think I deserve it, please vote for me. And I knew that I had so many people behind my back. I knew that if I fall, many people will open their arms and hug me and comfort me. And during that time, I knew I was going to get that award. But the other contestants for the same award were as good as I was, even more. And when I got that award, I knew that it is high time now that I work even harder, inspire even more people, not only to become pilots, not only to be in spaces where specific people don't belong, but inspire them to stay at school. Remind them that they coming from the dust, unlike other people that come at least from established families. So they have to work harder than those that come from established families. Should they require any inspiration, the very first important thing to do is self motivation. Motivate yourself, the rest will come in line. So
No,
I won the
nice.
award. It was quite exciting. And yes, thank you so much about the compliment of a good looking blazer. I try, man. I
Yay!
try.
The blazer was really nice. I swear down. It's fresh. I mean, I mean, yeah, it's rightly deserved. I believe you also won the best looking on that night. Maybe, nah.
Man, I think I'm losing your sound here and there, so I didn't get your question, but I hear you
No,
speaking about
I
that
was,
night specifically.
no, I'll say that probably you won even the best dressed even on that night. Did you?
Man, no, I strongly believe that the other contestants and the MCs or the presenters, the hosts, and even the founder of the Eastern Cape Youth Awards was as dressed as as good as me, as good as it should be for an occasion of that kind.
Sure thing. Anyways, we've reached the end of the program for today. And thank you so much. You have so much like stuff to basically get our viewers to get to know you more. And yeah, I would have wished we could have a part two, but you never know. You never know one of these days as well. And every single time when I reach to this point, I love rolling the red carpet to my guests, basically asking them what's happening and where to support you, where can people see your progress and so forth. So the red carpet is you tell us what's going on, where can people support you, where can people follow you, and all of that stuff.
All right. Uh, and first and foremost, I should say this again. To every kid that comes from the dust, from the from their poverty, I advise you guys to stay at school. It will only take you to change the situation of where you come from. Learn to be responsible at a very young age because by the time you're 25, you will fully be responsible. Number two, do not expect anyone else to chase your dreams. Do not expect anyone else to chase dreams specifically for you. It will take yourself to reach all your goals, dreams, and everything. And so, I always share and aim to be the inspiration to every people that I come across, even from those that are deemed to be thugs in our hood. Everyone, even the oldest people in the area and the community, I try and reach out to them. And this is to show them that, hey, I come from a very um, undesirable circumstance or situation or environment, but I am still here with you, I still eat what you eat. Do not treat me different because of what I am titled to be. I am one of you, you know. People can always reach out to me on social media, from Facebook. Full name is Siyakholwa Zazini. I see you may notice that I wrote ZZN there. I removed my poems to be ZZN. And on Instagram, I am Sky Warrior ZZN, which is Zazini. In aviation phonetics, we call it Zulu Zulu November. So I am Sky Warrior Zulu Zulu November on Instagram. But if you search Siya Zazini, you will still get my account. If you need more inspiration and you want to read more about my stories, you can always search me on Google and read my stories. You will know what I intend to do in my entire life and what I stand for as a human being. Thank you so much for watching and being with me tonight. Hopefully, we will have another episode talking more of how to tackle what in the industry. With the little experience I have and with what my eyes have seen, at least I can share some words of advice to everyone intending to become a pilot.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. So thank you very much once again, and thank you so much to our viewers and the ones who watch later on the stream. Thank you so much, and tell your friends it's Aviation Thursdays out here, and it was great. My guest's name's Sia, your host Isaac Yami, Big Sky, and have a great evening, afternoon, morning, whatsoever time that you're gonna watch this. It is a goodbye from the team. Bye everyone.
Goodbye.